The way a movie opens is extremely important. It needs to hook the viewers and communicate the tone of the movie. And few films do it better than the Indiana Jones movies. In this video, I want to discuss the opening scenes from each of these movies and then rank them, and then we'll call it a day. First up, we've got Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is a benchmark. This is how you do it. In fact, you won't find a conversation about movie openings that doesn't include this film. The movie opens. We see some shrubs and a mountain in the background. Then, a man walks on screen. We don't know who he is, but he strikes a pretty badass silhouette. He's joined by others. The two worthy of note end up turning around and looking back at the camera so we can see their faces. We continue on through the jungle and follow this group on their expedition. The camera intentionally finds positions so that our protagonist's face remains hidden. Until finally, after stopping to examine a piece of paper, one of the crew members does a mutiny and pulls out a revolver, pointing it at the man in the hat. But Hat Man hears the gun cock, turns around, and whips the gun out of the man's hand. And then, our hero steps out of the shadows to reveal Harrison Ford in his prime. In this moment, Indiana Jones is born. Gotta say, George Lucas absolutely cooked when he created this character. With just 3 items, a brown fedora, a brown leather jacket, and a bullwhip, we have one of the most iconic and instantly recognizable movie heroes of all time. Okay, clearly I don't do it as well. They then make their way to a hidden temple. At this point, the only ones left are Indiana Jones and this guy, Sepito. Fun fact, according to the movie's script and by every official metric, this guy's name is actually Satipo, but apparently Harrison Ford mispronounced the character's name when he called him Sepito.
Adios, Sepito.
So that's what I'm gonna call him too. They make their way through the temple, and Indiana Jones uses his expertise to avoid a number of traps. This all builds to the golden idol scene, where Indiana Jones carefully tries to remove the golden idol without activating the final trap. I love the way Sepito watches him greedily. You greedy little goon. Come here. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Goochie, goochie, goo. Indiana Jones, of course, activates the trap, leading to a harrowing escape involving a betrayal, a last-second whip recovery, and running from a giant rolling boulder. These scenes are so infamous, they've permeated pop culture. As Indiana Jones finally exits the temple, he's confronted by the film's villain, Dr. René Belloc, a rival archaeologist. Belloc takes the golden idol for himself. Jones makes a break for it, being chased by bloodthirsty Javitos the entire way to his escape plane. In the plane, our titular hero, who has been shown to be badass and brave, encounters a snake. And this is where we learn he has a severe phobia of snakes, making for a nice little comedic moment that carries through the rest of these films.
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them!
All right, this jacket's stupid. What you might not know about Temple of Doom is that it's actually a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, taking place 1 year before that movie. The reasoning behind that is that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg didn't want to use Nazis as the villain again, and they wanted the freedom to put a darker tone on this one. So in this movie, Indiana Jones beats women. This opening sequence is batshit crazy. We kick things off with a lengthy musical number, which already feels a little out of pocket.
Anything goes.
Next, Dr. Jones walks up to a table and sits down, sporting a white dinner jacket and a red carnation, clearly paying homage to Sean Connery as James Bond in Goldfinger, the same Sean Connery that will go on to play Indiana Jones' father in the next movie. Man, I am just full of fun facts. Anyway, Indy is in this seedy nightclub in Shanghai because he made a shaky deal with Chinese crime lord Lao Che. The girl from the musical number, Willie, inserts herself into the story and joins them at the table. Lao Che is expecting Jones to hand over the Urn of Nurhaci, who was apparently the first emperor of the Manchu dynasty. Whatever the heck that is, I don't know. I only know American history. Instead of giving Jones whatever he was promised, a gun is pointed in his direction instead. Indiana uses Willie as a hostage, demanding what he is owed. Lau attempts to give Indiana a bag of gold coins, but Indiana refuses, revealing that he was promised a diamond. Lau reluctantly puts the diamond on the spinning tray, while his son slyly sneaks a glass of champagne right next to it. Jones summons his friend, disguised as a waiter, to deliver the urn. Indiana then foolishly takes a celebratory sip of his champagne, much to the delight of Lau and his cronies. Lau declares that there was poison in the drink, that he has the antidote, and that if Jones wants it, he has to hand the diamond right back. But of course, Lau has no intention of actually providing the antidote. So Indiana's friend pulls out a gun. But unfortunately, he is fatally shot by a well-timed bullet disguised as a cork popping. Indiana Jones, with a lethal amount of poison in his system, no backup, no plan C, does the only thing he can think of. He grabs a flaming shish kebab and hurls it into the chest of his friend's killer. And then all hell breaks loose. Jones punches Lau's son in the face. The antidote and diamond get thrown into the chaos. Jones bashes a glass into a dude's face. An unknown fist punches Jones. Jones punches an innocent woman and then throws a symbol into some dude's face. 5 million balloons descend from the ceiling. Indiana avoids the bullets of a Tommy gun by hiding behind a rolling gong, ending up with he and Willie busting out of the window. Hey, look at that. Club Obi-Wan. Must be a reference or something. They then fall down about 5 stories into a getaway car. Turns out Jones made friends with a nice Chinese boy called Short Round, and he's gonna be their getaway driver. How nice. It also turns out that Willie got her hands on the antidote, so Jones takes it by force. Yikes. After a high-speed chase, the trio makes it to a getaway plane. However, Indiana Jones fails to realize that this plane is owned by Lao Che. Once they're over the Himalayas, the pilots dump the fuel and parachute out, leaving Jones and company with no other choice but to jump out of the plane with an inflatable raft to break the fall. They sled down the mountain, fall off the cliff into a river, and then the real plot of the movie kicks off. Didn't realize how immodest I was. There we go. The Last Crusade opens with some panning shots of the beautiful landscape of Utah. We follow a troop of Boy Scouts on horseback, making their way through the rocky terrain. They all dismount to begin an on-foot hiking excursion. 2 of the boys break off to explore a nearby cave when they come across a crew digging up artifacts, looking for something. Well, this must be Indiana Jones. Bet he's looking for something cool. The crew quickly find what they're looking for, some kind of gold Hey, that's not Harrison Ford. It's then immediately revealed that one of the 2 spying scouts is actually our Indiana Jones in his youth. Indiana believes that this is an important artifact that belongs in a museum. What a friggin' nerd. Jones tells his friend to go get the sheriff, shows that he hasn't yet acquired his snake phobia, and then goes and steals a cross. He makes it back to his horse and then rides away with the Indiana Jones clones and company in hot pursuit. They all climb aboard a circus train, and Indy is then chased through all the different carriages filled with exotic animals. Ah, so that's how he got his snake phobia. Eventually, our protagonist ends up falling into the lion wagon. Ah, so that's how he got the whip. And that scar, too. He's rescued by Diet Indiana Jones and the crew, who try to reclaim the cross, only to be foiled by a sneaky snake. Indy runs into another cart, this one being magic-themed. He hops into a magic box and then bing, bang, boom. He's outside the train, running home. After who knows how many miles, he eventually makes it back to his abode. He tries to tell his dad what's happened, but his dad makes him count to 20 in Greek before he's even allowed to speak to him. Not gunning for that Father of the Year position, I guess. He's not even doing anything important, he's just drawing pictures, and they're not even that good. The friend from before finally arrives with the sheriff, who immediately gives the cross back to Minnesota Jack over here, who then hands it over to his supposed boss, Red Carnation Man. Ohio Jim then imparts some wisdom to the young Indy and then gives him his hat, which leads to this incredible transition to modern-day Indiana Jones. Smiling with a bloody mouth, our hero instantly gets punched in the face, in tune with his theme song. Red Carnation Man appears and retakes the cross from Indiana Jones. We're not really told how he got here. We're left to fill in the gaps in our mind. Indiana once again proclaims that the cross belongs in a museum, and Red Carnation Man replies, "So do you." Ouch. They attempt to throw our boy overboard. Ha, yeah, right. Jones throws hands with everyone during the worst storm imaginable. Indiana tally-hoes into the ocean, and then the ship just f***ing explodes for some reason. We then see the villain's hat floating in the water, symbolizing his defeat. And while I wish we could end there, unfortunately there are 2 more films. So let's quickly touch on those. There's really not much to say here, and not just because this is a rather lackluster film, but because there's really not much of an intro. We see a CGI gopher get scared away by a speeding car filled with young adults blasting Hound Dog by Elvis Presley, letting us know what time period we're dealing with here. They goad the lead car in a military convoy into a race, which is just insane. I feel like you'd get shot for attempting this. Military convoy breaks off, reaches a gate checkpoint, kills all the soldiers there, and then proceeds into the restricted US military base. They pull a random guy out of a trunk, toss a brown fedora onto the ground, and then throw an old guy onto the ground after it. I wonder who that is. I do really like him walking over, picking up his hat, and then this silhouette shot of him putting it on. And that's really about it. I suppose you could argue that the intro also includes him finding the magnetic box, escaping, getting blown up by a nuke while hiding inside of a fridge. But I disagree. In every instance so far, the opening sequences of the movies have, at best, some connective tissue to the main plot of the movie, but this movie dives straight into the main plot. I don't know, I'm open to pushback here, but as far as I'm concerned, as soon as he dons the hat, the intro's done. While this movie returns to a more traditional structure for its opening sequence, and is by far the longest intro, I will keep this very brief. We see a de-aged Harrison Ford back in Nazi times, captured. But they forgot to de-age his voice.
You got a lot of nice stuff.
He ends up on a train, there's action, there's setup for the main plot, the end. Now, let's rank them.
Welcome to the lab, where we're gonna cook up my personal ranking of the intro sequences to each of these movies. I have headphones on now because it makes me feel more professional. Okay, let's not waste any time. Raiders of the Lost Ark, let's go ahead and pop this bad boy in S tier. Like I said, this intro sequence is like a pop culture phenomenon. Not only that, but it's just like, it's perfect. It tells you everything you need to know about Indiana Jones, and it's like a short film within itself. You could watch it and be completely satisfied. Yeah, you're immediately on board for this character. After you watch it, you say, yes, bring on another 2 hours of this. I love it. Okay, next up, Temple of Doom. Now this one's a little bit harder. I love it. I love how chaotic it is. It's insane. Indiana Jones is a little out of character in it. I mean, he's trading a valuable artifact for a diamond. That seems a little weird. I thought he was the artifact guy. Defenders would say, oh, well, it's a prequel. He's still after fortune and glory. He's a little more selfish in this one, which I would kind of buy, except in the plot of this movie, he stumbles into this village in India who needs help getting their sacred stones back, and immediately Indiana Jones is like, yeah, I'll help you. So he already seems pretty selfless, so I don't really buy the whole trading the urn of Nurhaci for a diamond thing. Also, I think it's interesting how in this movie he just kind of stumbles into the plot. Like, it almost feels like an episode of a TV show where he's just like, oh, he has to jump out of a plane, and then he ends up in India, and then, oh, this village needs help. I'll help them. Not that I have a problem with that, but it is interesting. I think I will have to do A tier. I want to give it S tier, but I think for the character issues that I have, we'll leave it in A. Okay, next up, The Last Crusade. This one is even tougher because I like half of this intro and the other half I don't like. I don't like the Indiana Jones as a boy sequence. And let me tell you why. I never felt like I needed to know where he gets his snake phobia from. That was never like, oh, I wonder why he's afraid of snakes. I didn't need to know that. I didn't need to know how he got the whip. And I certainly didn't need to know where he got his outfit from. That's the most egregious offense, in my opinion. That he's just copying his entire look from just some random guy he saw getting an artifact, and now he's like, I love that guy's style. I'm gonna be just like him. I think that's lame. I think that I didn't need to know the answers to any of these questions. Questions I wasn't even asking, quite frankly. But the transition from young Indy to modern Indy on the boat is just so good. That's like, it's beautiful. I think it might be my, like, if I had to pick one moment from all of these sequences, I think this is the best moment. And everything after that, I love too. Him fighting everybody on the ship, exploding for no reason. I love it. But yeah, half of it I don't really like. So I think this just has to go in B tier. I wonder if we're just gonna go down the list perfectly like this. Let's see. Next up is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So yeah, this one actually, I mean, this is easy D tier for me. It's the weakest one. Like I said, for me, the intro ends when he puts on the hat. I don't think there's much of an intro at all to this movie. But even if you were to include everything up until him getting nuked inside of a refrigerator, I still think this is the worst one. But I don't actually think it's the worst movie. I think Dial of Destiny is a worse movie than this one. That being said, I would give Dial of Destiny C tier. I don't like what Hollywood is doing with the CGIing actors to be young. I think it's weird. I think it's completely bizarre that they didn't de-age his voice at all. He still has an old man voice and a young, uncanny valley face. But I will admit I did enjoy the novelty of seeing Indiana Jones again in Nazi times, fighting Nazis, doing some action. It was a cool, novel experience that I liked. And honestly, this intro sequence is probably the best part of the movie. The rest of it is garbage. So yeah, that's my ranking of the intro sequences to the Indiana Jones films. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my ranking or if you disagree. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And also just tell me which movie is your favorite. Did you like Dial of Destiny? And if so, what's wrong with you? Has the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull gotten better with time? If you like this video, let me know. I'm thinking about maybe doing a series on different intros to different franchises or maybe even video games. All right, that's it.